Hey guys, this is Eric from 7 Circle Hobbies, and today we're going to build a blood fountain. Okay, this is a fairly simple build. You'll need some pliers, a CD case, some wire, although I'll swap that out for fishing line in the next build, some dollar store skeletons, and a little bit of all-purpose spackle. Okay, so start by putting your cork board around your base in a circle, stacking it up. I went 2 or 3 layers high here. Of course, you can make it taller if you want. Then we're going to cover all of that with some joint compound. For the center column, I just used a 32mm base and broke off a couple pieces of cork, stacked them together, then hit them with the hot glue gun to put them together to a desired height. You know, just do this by eye, whatever looks right to you. Once you're finished with all the joint compound, set it aside to dry, and then you can choose what kind of aesthetic you want. I went with the Hearst Art skulls here. That was just to keep it matched with my other terrain. And then I went from 6 skulls to 4, and then I glued some of those skeleton chests down. I was just kind of going on the fly here, and I thought the chests with the neck bones would really add a little bit more visual appeal. If you've seen my videos before, you know I'm a big fan of hitting everything with a cover of Mod Podge, and then my usual standard stone painting recipes will be in the description. If you don't want to mess around with resin or epoxy, you can just paint the base red and call it a night. Now here's where you can start learning from some of my mistakes on this video. I went with the gauge wire since it's what I had handy, but in retrospect, you know, you want to use something clear like fishing line or even weed whack line to make these fountain effects. It's very hard to cover up even with the 5-minute epoxy that I'm using here, and it's just kind of a pain, so save yourself some hassle. That being said, I put a couple drops of Vallejo red ink into the 5-minute epoxy, gave it a good swirl, started slathering it on here. You want to work quick here because it'll turn rock hard in just a few minutes, so time is of the essence. You don't have a whole lot of time to plan this out. Just get it on and make it look as good as you can before it hardens up. And while I'm pouring this resin, I want to thank everyone who's subscribed. It's the best way they can help me support and grow this channel. I'm not asking you to join Patreon, and no offense to anyone who uses that. I'm just fortunate enough to be in a position that I don't need that kind of support, but I'd love you to keep growing the community and channel. So please hit the subscribe, like button, leave me a comment about what you'd like to see next on the channel, or anything you have to say about the build. I appreciate your feedback. Okay, so you see the epoxy didn't quite cover the fountain effects I'd hoped, so the last thing I do here is I have some ultra clear DAP all-purpose sealant. It is not silicone, but it's a polymer, I believe. I just put a couple down on a scrap piece of foam board here, put way too much ink in it and mushed it around and spread it onto the fountain effects. The pictures don't really do it justice. It came out much better in person. And if I were to do this project again, I'd do a couple things differently, but overall it didn't come out bad. You know, this is an easy project you can do in a night. I'd switch out the steel gauge wire for fishing string, and I probably wouldn't have the blood coming out of the eyes. It looked cooler in my head than it did in reality, but nonetheless, anytime you play with new materials, it's a good learning experience, and I hope you learn something. Stay tuned next week, and remember there's always room for one more soul in the 7th circle.